Good luck. Are there any questions? You know, as you almost know by now, I've been working on this series of short essays called Tantra. And there's one that I'm going to be, uploaded on my website on Friday. I think that's very powerful and extremely interesting. And it has to do with sexual energy, which is something that almost nobody in the spiritual, in quotes, field really ever talks about. But it tries to put it in its real perspective, what it really is, the power of it, how it can be used consciously, how it can be, and I think an important element in not only what I teach, but in any kind of spiritual practice. Because in most, spiritual practices, people repress that energy, and repressing it does more damage than learning how to use it consciously. Burying it inside one and creating a lot of tension because of it damages people. It really messes up their heads. It messes up their emotions, creates a lot of fear inside them. And that manifests not only, through sexuality, but it manifests in just about everything people do. So the whole point is learning how to use that energy consciously. It's very important because it's one of the most powerful. I mean, with the mind and the emotions and sexuality, you have three of the most powerful energies that exist inside a person. And people rarely know how to use the mind, their emotions, or their sexuality, that energy, the power of that energy, consciously so that it works and helps them to, first of all, get over themselves, and second of all, to grow spiritually. And there's no prejudicial aspect. I mean, you could be straight, gay, bi, schmi, whatever you are, it doesn't matter. Whatever your sexual preferences are, it doesn't matter. That energy is really powerful. Learning how to internalize it, learning how to use it consciously, it's a very important part of, doing profound meditation practice. And first of all, as I said, it helps us get over ourselves, a lot of the fears that are inside people. It also helps us to literally be reborn inside ourselves. So I've, working on this essay has been very interesting. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask?
What does it mean to use it consciously?
Excuse me?
What does it mean to use it consciously?
Well, how to draw it from the chakra below the navel through the sexual area to the base of the spine. What happens when you do that? how you're bringing together the male, female aspects of yourself in order to give birth to one of the most important elements in any meditation, which is the force of Kundalini. If you do it consciously, you build the power inside yourself to be able to activate Kundalini. If you don't do it consciously and Kundalini is activated through drugs, through whatever, the system of a human being isn't strong enough to deal with that kind of power. And it can create a lot of problems for people. So learning to use Shakti energy consciously is a very important element in what I teach. And not only what I teach, but I don't know what other people teach, but certainly a very important element in building a healthy inner life. It's learning the craft. Every occupation has a craft. Meditation also has a craft. And a big part of what this is about is mastering the craft, which is the conscious use of Shakti energy, so that it really creates a healthy inner life instead of a lot of chaos. Most people, it's a lot of chaos. And the chaos manifests not only inside them, but in the objective world. And all the chaos you see in the objective world is a manifestation of chaos inside of people. So conscious use of Shakti is an essential element, not only in learning what I teach, but learning to live, for God's sake. Learning to live, to be at peace with oneself, to be happy inside, to be open inside, and not live in fear and insecurity and guilt and 1,000 other things that really run rampant inside people and keep them from ever attaining any kind of high level of what it means to be a human being living in the world. Starts there, then it projects out. Source of everything you see in the objective world is the condition of humanity. And if humanity was healthy, if it was centered, if it was balanced inside, if there was love, the world would be a different place. So the craft of the meditation that I teach that's its purpose, to teach us how to build a healthy inner life. It's not going to change the world. There are too many people in the world. And, not a lot of people attend these meditations. People have other things to do. What can I do, But the craft, the work, the depth of need, it's all possible to do if people master their inner selves. Does anyone else have a question? I mean, we're very good at blaming everything but ourselves for the things that's wrong with life. It's always somebody's fault out there, and it's not. People do crazy stuff. They fight wars, they starve people, they do all kinds of insane stuff. They do it only because they haven't mastered the craft in themselves of how to work on themselves, transform that insanity into something kind, something good. And if other people don't do it, it doesn't mean we can't do it. Because the only person, I've said this a lot, the only person you spend 24 hours a day with is yourself. You're not happy inside. That's a pretty difficult 24 hours you're spending. And all of that can be changed by mastering the craft of inner work, transforming everything into Shakti, into energy, consciously used to build a spiritual life in oneself. Does anyone else have a question? You know, I can talk about these things. I can transmit a lot of energy. You know, powerful Shakti gets transmitted in these meditations. I can't do it for anybody else. That's where I need everybody's help. Stan, they talk about living in the Guru's grace. You know, I used to hear this so much when I was younger. Why do I have to work on myself? I'm living in the Guru's grace. Everything will get taken care of. And my first thought was, what a disservice to the Guru to assume that he or she is supposed to do everything for you. You are entitled. It's just bullshit, you know? I mean, the most powerful person I ever spent my time around was Rudy. And when I saw him sitting there working in the kind of depth he worked in when he was sitting there with Muktananda, I mean, it taught me something really important. Rudy wasn't going to do it for me. His Shakti would help, but I have to do the work. If I don't do the work, you know, time goes by and it's 20 years later, you know. I mean, I never spent time around anyone more powerful than Rudy. And yet he's sitting at the foot of Muktananda doing such deep spiritual practice, inner work, breathing, you know, the meditation, the double breathing that we do, that it was an extraordinary experience. I couldn't even look at Muktananda. I was just sitting there doing my work with Rudy. But you understand? The Guru's grace means that you respect the Guru and you do your inner work and you receive as much of the Guru's teachings as is possible to receive because you are doing the inner work. I remember I sat with Kala Rinpoche in India in his monastery and never met the person. Lying in bed, he looked like he was dying. And doing my inner work, working on myself, it became a miraculous 3 days. Miraculous how it changed me, transformed me. But he needed me, you know. He didn't need me sitting there, Om Mani Padme Uming it. He needs somebody who really was opening, teach me, give me the energy, give me what I need for my life. And what came out of him was miraculous, miraculous. And a whole Tibetan Buddhist education in 3 days, actually probably 6 hours, 2 hours a day, doing what I was there to do. And that was open in the greatest depth I could open so I could receive what he had to teach. Strangest thing is, I've said this, but it's really such an interesting story. I was in San Francisco giving a talk at a yoga society there. And one of my students comes up to me and he says, you got to hear what this guy, this is unbelievable. He said to me, you got to hear this guy. So I go over, and this guy was a disciple of Kala Rinpoche. And he said that in 1966, 67, whenever I was there, he said these 2 seekers came from the West, and their need for a spiritual life was so strong that it brought Kala, we all thought he was dying. It brought him back to life again. And that's what happened. Rudy always said, a guru is a cow. You got to milk the cow, or the cow's going to scream into the night. I'm a cow, milk me, milk me. A lot of energy, a lot of milk, a lot of Shakti. But I can't do it for anybody. I need your help. And that depends upon how deeply anyone needs to have a spiritual life. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, as I announced on Sunday, there'll be no meditation next Sunday. I'm doing a retreat this weekend where people coming mostly from all over the United States to be part of this. And but there will be a meditation on the following Tuesday. There will be one Thursday and then the following Tuesday. So thank you. God bless you all. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone on Thursday.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome. Bye.